What is up, my friends? The weekend has officially started and I hope you're all having a wonderful Friday. You're very welcome along to tonight's stream, and of course, it's your show, so we'll go through the topics you want to discuss. Appreciate you all coming in, as always, giving up a little bit of your Friday to have a chat with me. Today, it's really updates from Arne Slot's press conference more than anything. Of course, we will get stuck into it though. Little bit on Dean Huijsen coming up as well, but there's been no earth-shattering news today, really, which is why we pushed forward the preview video, which went out earlier on this evening. So if you get a chance, please do have a look at it and let me know your thoughts on my predicted 11. Yeah, what a weekend this is going to be. I'm kind of saving all my energy for Sunday, if I'm being honest. Tomorrow, going to have a quiet one. Going to just kick back, watch the boxing and maybe a little bit of the FA Cup. But yeah, all eyes on Anfield for Sunday and what is, well, a huge occasion. If you're lucky enough to be going to the game, we want to know what it was like. Do let us know on Monday, when we chat with you again. But yeah, look, I hope you're all well. We'll be talking tonight about Ibrahim Konaté's contract situation, about Real Madrid being the moaners that never stop moaning. We've a few comments from Arne Slot's press conference, a bit on Kevin Kelleher's future, a little bit from Cody Gakpo and what it means to win the Premier League title, and just some lovely quotes really ahead of what's going to be a very interesting weekend for the Reds. Big team news coming out of Spurs is that Son won't be available for the game. They're prioritising getting him back, of course, for the Europa League semi-final against Bodo Glimt on Thursday, which makes sense. I mean, if I was a Spurs fan, that's exactly what I'd be wanting from a manager as well. There was some words as well today from Arne Slot around why it's important for Conor Bradley continue to get minutes. So I think that maybe lets us know he'll be starting at right back of the weekend. But most importantly, I do appreciate you all giving up your Friday night to have a chat with me. Right, where do we start off then? Let's go through the presser and have some words from Arne Slot on what the strength of the league is like. Let's start off with that one. So speaking today, Arne said, everybody can have their own opinion. I can only tell you what I've experienced this season and can say it's never been as exciting for a top 4 or 5 finish. And he's right. It's really interesting. Like, obviously, Liverpool about to win the Premier League at a canter, and I'm very much appreciative of that. But the race for the top 5 places is really interesting, going down to the last 4 or 5 games. Speaking about the possibility of winning the league on Sunday, this is what Arne Slot had to say in his press conference earlier. It's a big responsibility because we're aware of the fact that this club won the league, and the last time it was during the COVID time, so everybody's looking forward to Sunday. But we know there's still a job to be done, and that's to take at least 1 point. Slot speaking about everybody getting together as well for the Crystal Palace game against Arsenal. He said, we watched it all together. It was a game that had a surprise. Before the game, I was surprised it ended in a draw. But during the game, I was surprised because Palace again showed what the league is all about. Basically just speaking about the professionalism there of Oliver Glasner's side. And again, I agree with Arne. I didn't expect them to take anything from Arsenal, so very grateful for them taking that point. And then on Conor Bradley, this is what Arne Slot had to say, and I find this very interesting. He said he's getting closer and closer to playing 90 minutes, but we're taking care of him if he had 2 injuries that were similar. It's important for him to play as many games in a row as he can. He definitely has the quality to do so. So that kind of got me thinking, is this Arne's way of letting us know that Conor Bradley is going to be playing every game at right back between now and the end of the season? I think it does. But of course, I want to know what you guys think about it. It definitely strikes me as a comment to kind of maybe take some of the pressure off the Trent situation and get out ahead of the questions by saying Conor Bradley needs minutes, he needs repetition, he needs games in a row. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Alex Macklin said, evening Craig and the gang, can't wait for Sunday. Yeah, same as myself, my man. Trent's gone as well, said Alex. Look, I'm trying my best not to really talk about Trent too much tonight because every day there's another story from somebody who thinks he might stay and somebody who thinks he might go, and we're all bored of it. You're bored of me talking about it. I'm bored of being asked about it. We're all bored about it. All we want to know is what's happening, so let's try and keep the Trent talk to a minimum today, of course, unless it's something tactical or to do with the games. Again, first comment I see after that is going to miss Trent. But look, Ian Wright thinks he might stay. Roy Keane thinks he's going to go. Again, the whole kind of will he or won't he stuff is there. But, you know, nothing new. Nothing new that I can say that's going to change anyone's perspective on this conversation. Ian Greenstreet, nice to see you, my man. Appreciate you being in. Harry said, Craig, which creative midfielder would you sign? Probably Morgan Rogers, to be honest. I like the idea of Morgan Rogers if we could prize him away from Villa. The Cole Palmer stuff, I mean, I really just don't see that being a realistic option for a whole host of reasons. So yeah, Morgan Rogers. Wouldn't mind Eze from Crystal Palace either, but I would prioritise Rogers ahead of him. On top of that, interesting, you've got a couple of options on the continent that are maybe worth a conversation. Maybe there's a player or two we haven't spoken about, but, wanting to stay Premier League based and move forward with somebody who we know what we're getting, I'd probably say Morgan Rogers would be the one for me. Especially if Elliott goes and we were bringing some decent money, I think invest that in somebody like Morgan Rogers would be brilliant. And again, like, who said that? Scott said it in the chat, which I completely agree with. He can play multiple positions as well. Can play anywhere across the front three. More behind the striker in the central role. But either way, he can play wide in either area as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the summer has in store. I feel like every club bar Liverpool is really getting linked with a load of players. I wake up every day and look through my phone and look at all the transfer stories. And of course, you see Chelsea linked with every player in the world twice. United being linked with every player in the world, even though apparently they haven't got a 2p to rub together. And there's Liverpool, quiet as a mouse. So it's probably a good sign that we're trying to do our business quietly, but it makes for a frustrating time for somebody like me who wants to get out in front of these stories. Arian said, Craig, why not use Maka in the 10 instead? So I think we're getting lost in what we're really talking about there with a creative midfielder is it doesn't really matter if you want to use Maka or if we're talking about bringing in a Rodgers. The whole point is to just give us one more body in there that the manager trusts, Arian. So there's no doubt that you could put Alexis McAllister further forward, but still, if Elliott's moving out, we are going to have to bring in that extra body. So whether it's an 8 or a 10, it's much of a muchness, to be honest with you. I do agree with you, though. We know how good Alexis McAllister is, and he can play in any of those midfield positions. But I think the manager just seems to want a little bit more creativity. And again, I would stick with Elliott, but it looks like he could be on his way out. Bring on Sunday. Can't wait. Champions 20, said Kev Parker. It's going to be class. It's going to be class. I'm getting so excited about it, 2 more sleeps. 2 more sleeps and we're there. John and Tom with Atletico Madrid and that he could look for a move away. I can't say that with any level of confidence, but I can at least acknowledge the report that you're speaking about. Or at least the report that that person was speaking about. Matt Travis, love it, Matt. Only 48 more hours to go. Much love. Do you know what? I love that people are starting to use that phrase more and more now. Much love. I don't know how it came into my life or why I started saying it, but yeah, I love that people sign off with it as well now. When I get emails and stuff, people are signing off with it as well, which is lovely. But thank you, Matt, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. And yes, 48 hours to go. Are we lagging? Seriously, shouldn't be lagging. Not seeing a lag at my end. So I don't suspect it's on me, on my end this time. That's a weird one because I'm Ethernet cabled in. So my internet is pretty good at the minute. Like it's steady and even showing an excellent connection on YouTube side. So if it's acting up, it must be on YouTube side of it because to be honest, for me, the stream's good. Okay, cool. It was a YouTube issue. Sweet. Right, either way, we move on, ladies and gentlemen. We move on. So let's get through some more of tonight's news then. Let's talk about Dean Huijsen, because I love a Dean Huijsen conversation. Graham Bailey saying that Dean Huijsen is likely to stay in the Premier League this summer with Liverpool favourites to land his signature. See, everyone's playing catch-up on Anfield Agenda on this. I said to you guys 4 days ago, 3-4 days ago, about us being his favourite destination. The next day we've seen all the Chelsea stuff, but now common sense is starting to prevail and you're seeing more and more of these stories that are saying Liverpool are his preferred destination. Now, I will always caveat this because if Madrid came in and plunked £50 million down on the table, I do think there's a very good chance he would opt and go to Madrid. Got to be honest about that. But if these stories about him wanting to stay in the Premier League are true, and it looks like they are, then I very much believe Liverpool will be his preferred destination. But of course, that won't stop Todd Bowley and Chelsea throwing down a 107-year contract on squabillions of pounds a week and giving his agent a load of wedge as well. But I'm quietly confident that Liverpool can make this move happen if they move quickly enough. I have something in my eye that won't go away. It's like I've got an extra long eyelash or something. Kyle Lager said, Craig, do you still have your Twitch login with OBS? That was the issue, Kyle. We fixed it yesterday. On the money, though, Kyle, that was absolutely 100% the issue. It was OBS still having a Twitch setup on it, and it kept opening up Twitch pages. So, yeah, that was exactly what it was, and we fixed it yesterday. But good looking out, my man. Good looking out. Appreciate you. Steve gifted an Anfield Agenda membership as well. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that, my friend. Look at that. Kyle moving into the tech world. That is actually class. So, yeah, well done you. Genuinely, it took me and Connor a while to figure that one out, so well done to you. Neil said, love to have Dean Huijsen, such a talent, so young, Premier League proven, so much room to grow with us. Absolutely, Neil. Look, I can't tell you what's going to happen with Canade's contract because, you know as much as I do. But the Kwanzaa situation for me, look, if I'm being really honest with you, Neil, I think we need a centre-back, regardless of anything else. If nobody left the club, I still think we need another centre-back. But if you want to talk about giving them enough game time, then I think, the likes of a Kwanzaa moving on could see that space free up. And imagine a world where we had Van Dijk, Huijsen and Canade all at the club with Joe Gomez there as well. I know people think I sound harsh when I say about selling Jarell Kwanzaa, but again, you have to look at the fact that the manager's not playing them too much. And the manager actually today spoke about how important it is to keep the same team. This is what Arne had to say. There's a lot of research done about the longer the team plays together, the better they start to play, or the more often they play together, the better they play as well. That's why I'm not a big fan of rotating the team every game by 5, 6, 7 positions. So I think Arne's making it clear there that moving forward, yes, we will rotate a little bit, but in the main, it looks like he is going to be sticking to making sure that he has that core group together and that he likes to work with. So probably not going to expect a lot of rotation, but he's probably right as well. Like, I would agree that the more you can get your starting 11 together, the better. We've often spoken about relationships around the pitch and stuff like that, so makes sense. But I guess the key to that then is making sure that the players that are on the bench or that are in the matchday squad are ones the manager can feel so they can lean into and utilise. Craig, do you use OBS or Streamlabs? OBS, mate, OBS. Always used it from day one. Some others used to use like XSplit and a few other things, but no, we've been OBS from day one. Especially when you're working with a green screen. What's the news on Wesley? Yeah, no problem. Let me get that open for you. 1 second, my friend. Right, so this piece here said that there's a hint over the future of reported Liverpool target Wesley Franca, who of course plays for Flamengo, fullback position. Reports in Brazil claim the right back is being monitored and coveted by Liverpool and Manchester United. It's also said that Flamengo want a fee of about 25 to 30 million pound. And a post from Brazilian journalist Bruno Lemos said, as previously anticipated, the player's being coveted by Liverpool and Manchester United. But here's the really interesting part. His representatives travelled to England. So they're over in England having conversations. And it looks like Liverpool and United are the two clubs that Wesley's representatives are over to have discussions with. And that doesn't mean they won't speak to more clubs. But yes, so is that an indication? Or is it just, again, paper talk to try and stir up interest in a player? David Massett, always lovely to see you, my friend. Said, looking forward to Sunday. Yes, sir. Paying a little bit of attention to the NFL draft as well. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on it, but I always find these things interesting. Ian Cahill said, "Hey Craig, you ready to celebrate on Sunday?" Yes, sir. Very much am. I'm even going to take tomorrow off. So there might be a news video out tomorrow, but that'll be it. No live stream or anything like that. I'm resting up, preparing for what I'm imagining is going to be a fun, energetic day on Sunday. And like everybody else, I'm excited. It's it's not very often. I'm 43 years of age now, and I don't remember the earlier titles. So the first one I remembered was the one in the COVID era, and this one, yeah, it's going to be special. My mate sent me a clip saying we're looking at Greenwood. Yeah, well, your mates either winding you up or very, very naive. Of course we're not. Wesley, how are you, my man? I am well, thank you. I hope you are as well. Where did we sign Bobby Firmino from? Hoffenheim. I believe, look, I could be wrong on this story, but I believe Bobby Firmino was discovered on Football Manager or something nuts like that by Hoffenheim or by another club before them. But yeah, it was Hoffenheim that we brought him in from. Rusba. I used to rate Romano, but nowadays he just holds pom-poms cheering for Madrid. Pathetic. I don't disagree with you. I would throw Chelsea in there as well. He loves to tickle Chelsea's nuts a little bit, but look, my man, I don't really have much time for him personally. Don't know him, but don't want to either. I know a little bit more about his rise to prominence than I can really talk about publicly, but yeah, look, for me, he's a gun for hire. That's what I keep saying. You pay him enough, he'll tell the stories. If you've got an account set up where people can email with what they want said and a price, as has been uncovered previously by, I think it was it Norwegian journalist or something. Look, it's all about, that's it. And look, he's obviously been quite successful at it, but I've always felt he has a very anti-Liverpool agenda, personally. Bulgaria is in the house. How are you, my friend? If Nuno Mendes was available in the summer, would you have him? I like Kirkes, but for me, Nuno's the ultimate left back. Yes, he's brilliant. I was really impressed with him when we played PSG, but he's not going to be available, is he? PSG aren't going to let him go. But like yourself, what a player. Really, really impressed with him. The two people that stood out for me when we played them were himself and what was the central midfielder? I can't think of his name off the top of my head now. Can't think of his name. Vitinha. Yeah, two of them stood out to me when we played against them. They both looked really, really good. JJ Orr said Romano was a bought and paid for mouthpiece. Tom Goldsworthy said he's a brown envelope. Look, everyone's got a right to make a living, but when you get to the level that you can influence, because he's probably the most influential person in the football world on social media, and when you get to the level that you can influence conversations, directions, media attention, I think you have then a duty of care on top of that. But either way, I've just never liked the idea of him and what he does, but others worship at his altar, so each to their own. Right, let's talk about Kelleher for a minute. So I don't believe that he'll take up this option, but there has been stories saying that Leicester City could be in for Caoimhín Kelleher, and I just don't see a world where Kelleher is going to go to the Championship now and go to Leicester City. So for me, I think if Leeds are still interested in the goalkeeper, they would be very, very wise to have a look at Caoimhín Kelleher. Newcastle's name are continuously mentioned as well. But yeah, I just don't see him taking a step to Leicester City to go down to the Championship. I'm sure he could get a Premier League move. No disrespect intended there to Leicester, but I think Kelleher can do a little bit better than that. Our friend from Bulgaria said we should go for Morgan Rogers in the summer as a Szoboszlai alternative. Well, there's been a couple of stories over the last week linking us to Morgan Rogers. The fee that I've seen mentioned is about 70 million quid. I've no idea how truthful that number would be in Aston Villa's reckoning anyway. But I guess if Villa don't make Champions League this year, and they're probably an outside shot at this rate, anything's possible, you know? PSR and all this guff that comes with that. I know that they're thinking of selling their women's team and, you know, pulling a Chelsea on it, but... Oh, did you see the story, actually? Sky was talking about this last night. Apologies, excuse me for coughing. Sky were talking about this last night, that apparently Manchester United pulled out of a deal to sign Eden Hazard when he was still in Lille because his agent wanted a bung, as they called it, wanted a load of dough, and United weren't going to pay it, and he moved to Chelsea. And that's the part of football that I despise. This is why I go on about agents so much. If Manchester United had a deal agreed for Eden Hazard, then the player should have went to Manchester United. But when an agent has that much influence and power that if you don't give me a load of dough, the player's going elsewhere. And I'm not talking about the normal type of agents fees involved in this. This was apparently before the rules were strengthened around that type of stuff. And it just, again, it's so greasy, the football world. It really is, as Chelsea have often displayed, a case of who look after the agents the best. And we've seen what happened with Caicedo in Liverpool. It annoys me. It annoys me because so much money is taken out of the sport by agents, and it just winds me up, especially when you see some of the numbers involved for just doing their damn job. You know, the job is to look after the player and get the best footballing project, and yes, the best financial package, but some of them are just shocking. Mark, thank you for your membership message. As always, my man said we're going to win the league 20 times. Love it, Mark. Love it. Right, I got to give a quick update on the live show, by the way. Again, scan the QR code if you want to come and see us, because they're selling well. We got another update this morning, and every time I get the update, thankfully, the ticket sales are getting better and better. So if you want to come and see us for either of those shows, you know what to do. Last day of the season show, Hot Water Comedy Club, May 25th. Scan the QR code to get your tickets. Or again, May 28th, the Anfield Agenda, end of season party and reunion show. Same story. You can get your tickets to these all ages events, price of just £20 in Liverpool at the Hot Water Comedy Club. We should keep Chiesa for when Salah goes in January. Look, there's no point, Sharon, because he's just not going to play him. And there's no point in keeping a player who costs us £7 million a year in wages to cover 1 month. So that means we'll have paid out 14 million in wages to Chiesa over 2 years for him to cover a player who at best will be away for a month. You know, and we know the manager's not going to play him because he hasn't played him all this season. So it looked very, very likely that he's going to move back to Serie A. And again, the question is, who signed him and why? Let's talk about Jamie Gittins for a second. Chelsea are in contact with Jamie Gittins' camp and have offered him €6 to €7 million per year, and Dortmund want about 50 million pound or €60 million for the player. Again, I'm going to ask, how on earth can Chelsea keep being linked with every goddamn player? Like, we went through this last night and we looked at some of the numbers that Sky put up around Chelsea's transfer spending, and it's honestly ridiculous how much money they've spent. They've spent £1.3 billion over the last 2.5 years on transfers, signed 42 players. And again, every big transfer in this market they're being linked with. How? Does football ever hold these clubs to account? And before anybody tells me, I know they've sold a load of players to Saudi and other areas as well. But it's still crazy. I just don't see how they're an attractive proposition for a footballer unless you just want that guaranteed 6-7 year contract. And I think those contracts eventually are going to come back to bite them in the backside, because you can't keep all them players happy. If they start to become flops or don't get game time and they're sitting there on pretty well incentivized contracts for 6-7 years, it's going to make them much, much harder to shift on as well. And there's only so many times that you can be bailed out by the Saudi Pro League for your cast-offs. Or is there? Maybe there isn't so many. Maybe it'll be forever. David said, feel sorry for Chiesa, hasn't had a chance. So I equally feel sorry for Chiesa, David, but I also feel really angry as a fan at the wasted money. Especially knowing that we're told we have to cut our cloth accordingly and every penny counts and, all the other stuff that we talk about all the time. And then you see that. It just makes you think, well, where's the sensibility in this? My friend from Bulgaria, if you want to phonetically help me pronounce your name, that would be great, because I don't want to mispronounce it and offend. Tokwo or Tokwo said, it's good that we're not going after Jamie Gittins. He's overpriced, young talent, but overpriced and not an upgrade on Diaz. We should go for Anthony Gordon. He wants the move. I love it. I'm with you on that one, sir. I'm with you. Look, he was €100 million 6 months ago, Jamie Bino Gittins. Then his form seemed to dip a little bit. Then they dropped their asking price to about €60 million. And I'm like you. No, pass. No, thank you. Not proven enough yet. And if Chelsea are already going to offer him about 100 grand a week, again, no, thanks, walk away. I would go for Anthony Gordon again if Luis Diaz moves on. And I think there's a good chance you could get Anthony Gordon because of the emergence of Harvey Barnes and the fact that Newcastle are going to want to bring in some money as well. I know he just signed a new contract, but I still think that we may see that revisited, but let's wait and see. Stevie boy, how are we, my Australian friend? Lovely to see you as always, sir. Do Liverpool get all their business done in the summer? Well, I mean, I don't know which way you're asking the question. I'm going to interpret it as, do we address all of the areas of concern? Is that fair enough, Stevie boy? No. Of course we're going to be left feeling somewhat disappointed, mate. We do have to remember who our owners are here. Tight-fisted FC. No money FC. When your own fan base is singing the Reds have got no money and will still win the league, that should be an embarrassment for the ownership group. But again, we know that there's a load of people in the media who love to give them an attaboy and a pat on the back. And look, to some extent, we can't deny the success we've had under these owners. It would be unfair of me not to say that we're about to win a second league title. We've won a European Cup and all the other things that we've won. But again, my argument is I think we left trophies on the table and I think we could have had a little bit more. So yeah, right now, I think the Premier League is going to have an inflection point this summer, because you've got an Arsenal team that are still developing and progressing year on year and are going to be there or thereabouts. We've got an unknown quantity in Manchester City who've already shown a willingness to splash the cash to rebuild. You've got United desperate to get back up that league table. You've got Chelsea who can just sign players for fun. Then you've got the likes of an Aston Villa there and a Newcastle going in the right direction. So I hope we certainly don't take our eye off the ball like we did after the 1920 season. And we do end up with this window feeling equipped enough to go there and try to defend the title. That's the fairest I can be about it. But you know me, mate, I'm always expecting to be left somewhat disappointed. Much like my wife in the bedroom. And I'm talking about me doing the disappointing there. That's how I put myself in her shoes there. I'm probably going to feel that level of disappointment. And again, just to make it clear, I'm the disappointment in that area, not the missus. I don't want anyone thinking I'm slagging off my wife. I'm slagging off myself. Mark said, Craig, score prediction for Sunday. Well, spot the man who hasn't watched the preview, huh? Mark? I'm going to go 2-0, mate. 2-0. Could be more. There is a potential for this to be a bit of a landslide, in all honesty. But I'm gonna go for a 2-0 win. But yeah, do watch the video and let me know what you think. Don't underestimate Forest. Love you, Craig. Well, I don't think they're going to be challenging for a league or at next year, in all honesty. But what they've done this season is remarkable. No denying it. The job Nuno has done, the performances they've put together, the run they've put together. It would be really bad if they fell out of the Champions League positions at the end of the season. But, it will be some achievement if they hang on in there. Yeah, and do you know what makes it all the funnier? Those people who said they might get relegated, I don't think any of us can mock them, because when we look back at that time, we probably all thought that was a decent show. Yeah, I don't think you'll find one person that expected them to finish in European places. Not one. So the job that they've done, it's a deserved position in the league, and they have kind of got a touch of the Leicester Cities about them to some extent, don't they? You know, solid defensively, very good on the counter attack, and can transition like that. And remember, I'm married to a Forest fan, Adam, so I'll never be allowed to underestimate them. She won't let me. Craig, is the 115 got more charges coming out in October? I don't know, Ian, in all honesty. That's one of them things that I'm not subjecting myself to until we know what's going on either. I'd like the first lot to be dealt with before we move on to any potential further ones, my man, but truthfully, I don't know. Neil said, we just got to do our business early. I think we will. We can't have another Zubamendi situation. Totally agree. I do want us to go out there and attack this transfer window early as well, but I'm trying to be understanding of the fact that there will need to be some one in, one outs. Like, let's be fair about that. There will. I just hope it isn't in the positions that we feel we need the most. So, centre forward and left back. They're probably priorities number 1 and 2 in whatever order. But we also will probably have to move somebody on in each of those positions. So, yeah, hopefully that gets done quickly. What I'm hoping for here is that maybe with the clubs going to play in the Club World Cup and that early window, some of the Saudi clubs or others may want to come in and get that business done early, and that might benefit us. That's at least what I'm hoping for, because we've seen stuff like of Al Nasser, and I'm not sure if they're in the Club World Cup. I actually haven't paid attention to what Saudi clubs are in it, but we know that they're interested in Luis Diaz. And El Ronnie needs all the help he can get, because he might be about to sign a £170 million a year contract to stay over there, but poor El Ronnie hasn't won the Saudi Pro League yet, which is, in my opinion, pretty goddamn embarrassing for a player that likes to think of himself as the GOAT, and he hasn't even won that league yet. That's about as much attention, though, as I've paid to the Saudi Pro League. Suleiman said, I really expect our team to give us a good show on Sunday before lifting the trophy. I think that's what makes the draw between Palace and Arsenal just a little bit more interesting, is the fact that I think that takes the pressure off us a little bit now, and the lads can go out there and I don't think play with fear. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Look, I'm hopeful of two things. One, that Spurs have their mind on Thursday, because it's a far bigger game for them. Two, they want to make sure that Arsenal suffer and Chelsea have to give us a guard of honour. So yeah, look, I think we should, in an ideal world, be able to deal with them fairly easily. But again, stranger things have happened in football, so let's wait and see. But appreciate you, Suleiman. Almost day of the broccoli. I know, Sharon. Yeah, I know. Still trying to figure out the funniest or the most entertaining way to consume said broccoli. But yeah, what if I ground it up and snorted it? Does that count? I'm talking about broccoli, by the way, before anybody starts giving out to me. Craig, can we have a what day the announcement is for the broccoli? So, I mean, I'd imagine Sunday. Sometime on Sunday. Once the league title secured, probably. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be Sunday at some point. I'm still trying to figure it out, because remember, I use a green screen. So if I'm sitting here holding up a piece of broccoli, you ain't seeing it. So I've got to either switch off the green screen and do it that way, or just make a short doing it or something like that. But either way, God, broccoli. LFC Gamer and Vlog said, who do you think will win the Champions League? I'm thinking either Barcelona or Inter. I definitely think it's the winner of the PSG Arsenal tie for me. I think the winner comes from that side of the draw. I think they've been tested more on that side. And yeah, look, I know Barcelona are winning La Liga, and I know they've got a potential of a treble, but when I watch them, I'm genuinely not that impressed, and they wouldn't scare me if Liverpool had to play them. So if I was in Arsenal's shoes, and speaking with Lee Gunner actually, he's more concerned about Inter Milan than he is about Paris Saint-Germain, which I think is wrong. I think he should very much be focusing on how difficult PSG are going to be over two legs. But yeah, I think the winner comes from the winner of Arsenal PSG. But let's wait and see. We want to watch it live. I know you do, you sadistic gits. Look, I'll figure it out. I'll think about it over the next day or two and figure out the most. I'd rather fire it out of a cannon or something, to be honest, but it is mad, isn't it? Like one man eating a bit of broccoli. You know, it should be an everyday occurrence, really. But genuinely, I'm not a vegetable person at all. Never have been, never will be. Despise it. And broccoli is the epitome of everything I despise about vegetables. And by the way, kids, eat your vegetables. Don't be like me. I'm an idiot. How many bags of broccoli would I eat? I'm eating one piece of broccoli. One. No bags. This isn't going to be Craig in a bathtub filled with broccoli. This is Craig eating one piece of broccoli as promised. If anybody wants to, well, I was going to say cook and bring me some broccoli to the live show, but I'm not eating on stage there either. I said once and I'll eat it once. There's so many things I'd rather do than eat that broccoli, by the way. I'd rather walk through the supermarket in a dress than eat that broccoli, but I'm a man of my word. What's going on with broccoli? So me and broccoli have beef my entire life, Clint. I think it's the devil's food. It's an arrogant vegetable, quite frankly, to be honest with you, Clint. I mean, just look at it. Comes in going, oh, look, I'm a tree. Oh, I'm a tree. I'm a little tree on your plate. Oh, I'm a tree. Oh, come and eat me. Look at all my florets. Oh, I'm a magic. And then you've got all them little, tiny little green in the back of your throat, It's just there on the plate, taking up chip space. Just meh. And like people, fried in a pan with a little bit of butter, a little bit of ham, a little bit of beef. Fuck you! It's disgusting. It's broccoli. There's nothing good about it, and I'm not having it. My wife tries to tell me, I love broccoli, and she eats a lot of it. But I mean, plate of broccoli, plate of chips. What you having? Nobody eats broccoli by choice. I don't believe anybody actually likes it. I don't. I know people are going to tell me now in the chat that they do, but you're part of the problem. One full piece, not just the leaves. Oh yeah, one full piece, like I said. Now, when you say full piece, I mean one floret of broccoli, not one little bonsai tree level of broccoli. That ain't happening. But, oh God, it's so horrible. Do you know what I mean? There's a couple of things on this planet that really I despise. Mighty Red is one. I've got beef with Mighty Red. And broccoli is another one. Mighty Red, broccoli, and shrinkflation are the three things that anger me the most in this world. Yeah, I'm being honest. Yeah, they are. Shrinkflation, Mighty Red, and broccoli. Three things I despise. Broccoli, I wear a Manchester United shirt for 1 week. See, I don't really... To me, wearing a jersey doesn't do anything. There's no physical pain involved, and I don't really feel embarrassment too much in life, so wearing something like that wouldn't bother me, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really feel, I don't have the gene or whatever it is to feel embarrassed. It's not a feeling I feel, so yeah, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. But eating that piece of broccoli, that's been playing on the old mind. Stevie Boy said, I may be mistaken, but United don't have money. How are they linked to all these players? Don't they sack loads of staff? Or didn't they sack loads of staff? They did, but I guess they're banking on a few things. One, that they probably hope to have that Champions League money coming in. So if they win the Europa League, they're in the Champions League, and that'll help them a bit. Secondly, they'll have players the likes of Marcus Rashford that they're going to recoup some money from. They're probably going to look to try and sell the likes of Xerxes or Højlund and a few others as well. Other than that, I don't know, mate. But you're right; they weren't supposed to be able to afford the lunches for the staff, let alone be out there shopping in Marks and Spencers. But football is a mad world. George said broccoli's horrible. It's the worst of the vegetables. I knew, George. Me and you, bro. Me and you. We just have this connection, and you're right. It is horrendous. Do you know what I mean? If we could get Mighty Red eating broccoli, holding a shrinkflated bar of chocolate, that's just and Craig would well, I don't want to say, I don't know, I don't want to talk about aggression towards Mighty Red, because, that would be unfair to the evil little fuck. And by the way, what do you guys think of Mighty Red? Genuinely, like, what is it? I don't get it. Like, do you know what annoys me most about Mighty Red? It's, oh, I'm so friendly, I'm so la la la. It's got the whole Disney vibe about it. I'm a bird and I'm so friendly, come and play with me. I want the Philly fanatic. I want somebody giving it a bit of attitude. I want Mighty Red out there swearing and slapping people in the back of the head and a bit of attitude. Not this, hi kids, come and play with Uncle Mighty Red. No. I want them in front of the away end, just giving it all this kind of action, That's what I want from a mascot. It's just me. See what I mean? Just me. Nothing to him. Who's the one that goes around the place on a 4x4 and all? Who's that one? It's not the Philly Fanatic. I think it's a different one, isn't it? Or is it the Philly Fanatic? Who's the one that flies around on the old 4x4 and all in the stadiums, giving a big honky nose on him? That's what I want. I want a bit of attitude. And also, if you're going to have a club mascot, I believe there should be a cage match every single year. None of this, let's have a little fun race. No. Lock all them mofos in a cage. All of them. All the mascots in a cage. Last man standing. Or title belt with a ladder. Do you know what I mean? Then you've got my attention. Then I'll pay attention. All in a cage. Ladder. Title belt hanging down from the ceiling. No rules. Bang. Let's go. Now we're working. Mascot knee slides in front of the away end. Exactly. That's what a mascot should be. A mascot should be there just to boil piss of opposition fans and be cheeky. Especially a Scouse mascot. Do you know, Scousers have a lovely sense of humour, have really sharp, witty sense of humour. The mascot should be the same. So there you go. I'll wait for you all to write your letter to the Premier League requesting that maybe a tables, ladders, chairs match, or, street fight, whatever. I'm easy. Purge, whatever you want yourself. Right. Do you want to hear the most ridiculous transfer rumour of the day? It's so ridiculous that I don't even really want to read it out, but here we go. FC Barcelona is willing to sell Rafinha for €100 million amid interest from Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool. Yeah, because we really want to buy Rafinha. Really, we do. Really. Just Gritty, that's the one I'm looking for. Yes, Gritty, that's the one I'm looking for, Nick. That's the mascot I was thinking of. That's what I want. I want him. Him and the Philly Fanatic. Give me either of those lads as the mascot and we can talk. But Gritty, that's the guy. Yes, we want him. Is he the guy with the big arse? And thank you, Nick. Keep him for that price, said David Newell. I don't want them. There's so many better options. It just screams again of Barcelona being desperate for cash. So let's talk about Cody Gakpo. He's been speaking about winning the Premier League, and he said to become, hopefully, a Premier League winner is every footballer's dream at some point in their life. That would be an amazing achievement. Yes, and you'll get that achievement on Sunday, hopefully, Cody. Kev said, Craig, do you realistically think we'll win back-to-back titles if we get a good window in the summer? We've got every chance. It's not going to be easy to do. Arne Slot may have slipped under the radar a little bit this year. Maybe people took us a little bit too lightly. But we should certainly at least go into next season confident that we can do it. And if we don't feel that way after this transfer window, then we've got a bigger problem. But yeah, we should. And that should definitely be the aim for next season. Defending it is definitely... That would That would be beautiful. There'd be no denying anything then. There'd be no begrudgery. It'd just be respect it and acknowledge it. So who's going to the game? Anybody in the chat, apart from George, going to the game? Because I know you're going, George. Anybody else going to the game on Sunday? I'm not jealous. It's going to be great, isn't it? Scenes now if we end up losing 1-0 or something, imagine. It'd be just their luck, wouldn't it? Nolly popped that I think if this summer goes well, we'll definitely be top contenders. Well, look, I'm interested to see if the bookies have us favourite, because I don't think they will no matter what happens. I think they'll have Arsenal or somebody else favourite. Has the replica trophy turned up yet? Nope, it's in Dublin. Do you know what is mad, Steve? And I said this to my wife, and I'm deadly serious. The trophy got from Asia to Dublin quicker than it's got from Dublin to Wexford. It's still in Dublin. Because, of course, they have to sort out the old tax and all to make sure that, the government get their pound of flesh. But, no, to the best of my ability, mate, or to the best of my understanding, I should say, it's still sitting in a warehouse in Swords in Dublin, waiting for the delivery. So, yeah, let's wait and see when it arrives. But at least it's in the country, so that's a good start. I'm really, really excited to see it, though. And I was hoping it would have been here by Sunday, but, I'll have to make do with this one for the time being. Nick said, should we fear complacency from the players who've now won everything in front of the fans? I have a feeling some might let off a bit. Do you mean going forward, Nick, or... I mean, I don't think so. If I think about a footballer or what it takes to get to the level that these guys have gotten to, I think your personality type will be one that you're relentless. I don't think you win a league title and take your foot off. I think you get that taste and you want it again and again and again. And winning's a good habit to get into. So I'm certainly hopeful that it only inspires them for more. Because there'll be some of these guys, as an example, that haven't won the Champions League yet and may want to go on then to do that. So, and I'm sure Arne Slot would have ambitions to win a Champions League. But again, this is why you've got players like Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk and that at the club, mate, to set those standards every day in the training ground and make sure that those standards are held to. And I'm sure that's exactly what he does. Pesky9 said 2-1 prediction for Sunday. Virgil scores first, Mo scores the winner. So, actually, one sec. So I was watching Sky Sports last night, and I'm sure some of you guys know the journalist Ian Ladyman. I think he works for the Mail. If it's the Mail or the Mirror, I think it's the Mail. So Ian Ladyman wrote a piece about his vote as a journalist for the Premier League or the Player of the Year. And do you know who he voted for? Or who he said he's given his vote to? You won't believe me when I say this. I'm not even joking. Who do you think professional journalist Ian Ladyman has decided deserves his vote for Player of the Year in the Premier League? I'll give you a clue. It isn't Mohamed Salah. Even though, to be fair, the other journalists that were on the show, Miguel Delaney and I can't remember the other dude's name that was on there, both of them said Salah, but I won't leave you in too much suspense. Bruno Bleeding Fernandes. That's who. He said Bruno Fernandes, of the team that lost many 13, 14 games and is in the Europa League, he apparently, somehow, in Ian Ladyman's analysis, deserves to be voted for Player of the Year. Bruno Fernandes. I don't even know what to say other than this has to be an attention-seeking move or something. I'm not saying Bruno hasn't had a decent season, but in context, come on. That's ridiculous. you can't lose 13 or 14 games with your club in a season, a club the size of Manchester United, and have any hope to win a Player of the Year trophy without smashing other records along the way or something. It's just ridiculous. NCE87 said, Craig, are we going to win the league Sunday? Yes, of course. I've been telling everybody since, I don't know, February, that don't worry about Arsenal. We're winning this league. I've been consistent all the way through. Everybody had wobbles, and I just kept saying Arsenal aren't going to do anything because they're not consistent enough. And everybody kept saying, but if Arsenal win this, and I said, nope. They haven't been able to go unbeaten. They haven't been able to not drop points for a month. So I was always really confident once we got our noses in front that we were doing it. And particularly once we got through January into February, I know the gap was, in and out a little bit in games and hand and all, but I never, ever, ever felt any fear that we weren't going to go on to win the league. It's one of the things I've been most confident about with this football club is this season, because it wasn't a peak Manchester City chasing us down. It was an inconsistent Arsenal. Would you rather the title next year or Champions League? Champions League next season. Look, I'll probably go back and forth on this because going back to back, as I've mentioned, would be incredible. But I'd also love another European Cup to, I guess, give Arne his first one. But I will say this openly, if we do either next year, it's going to be one hell of a great season again. If we defend the Premier League title or we manage to win a European Cup, that's another incredible season, and it would be amazing, absolutely amazing. So I'm happy with either one, and I'll probably go back and forth between the two because the idea of defending it and go back to back really does. That would underline how special the group is, but of course, Arne's first Champions League and number 7 for the club would be great as well. Adam said, it really did feel like a title after the Man City win. I can't remember what moment for me it was, like exactly where my confidence really clicked. But I don't know, I never felt the fear with Arsenal chasing us down. And if you go back and watch, I even said I think we win it by 10 points or so because... and this is going to sound arrogant, but we've been the best team in the Premier League this year. So we're deserving winners of it. Would you rather us get Isak or Gyökeres? I don't want Gyökeres near the club, mate. I agree with many journalists who said that he's not proven enough yet at a high enough standard league to come in. And what is he, 27 as well now? So Isak over Gyökeres, but Julian Alvarez over both would be my decision. If I was in Richard Hughes or Michael Edwards' shoes, I'd be trying to figure out if there's any way possible at all to get Julian Alvarez. It will be interesting though to see if Gyökeres ends up at someone like Arsenal, which I could see happening. Again, with the likes of Delap, it looks Chelsea. If you fancy a flutter, Chelsea is probably worth a few quid if you're looking to stick and where Liam Delap may end up. Shout out Andy in the Discord group on that one as well. But yeah, some decent information that they're the front runners for Chelsea or for Delap. United desperately want to bring him in as well, but they're too busy signing every other player in the world with no money apparently. Crimbo Slot said we should be praised a lot more. Yes, I agree on a lot of the London. It felt to me this season, mate, like there was a real desire and appetite in a lot of the media, especially in television media, around wanting Arsenal to win it or a London team. Look, I'm not English, so I don't understand the North-South divide as much as... Well, I get the gist of it, but ultimately it feels like there's an arrogance around London sometimes that they feel like they're almost deserving of things. and I hate it. I'm definitely more of a working class northern kind of person. If I was in England, I wouldn't have any interest in living down towards London. I'd definitely be up somewhere around the kind of Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, Birmingham parts of the UK. Much more my type, much more my probably my voting preference as well from those areas. But yeah, I've always felt like there is a real divide in how football is covered sometimes between the London centric journalists and those who cover up north. Oh, whose birthday? Someone's birthday, is it? Edward? Is it your birthday? Happy birthday, Edward. I think someone said there was a birthday in the chat. Where are we? I'm scrolling up to try and find it. Can't see it, but happy birthday, Edward, nonetheless. What's this one? So, Arne Slot, actually, Lewis Steele put out something interesting. Arne Slot was asked about the story in the Portuguese media that Liverpool would have to pay Benfica another 5 million quid if Darwin Núñez starts another game for Liverpool this season. And this is the manager's reply. Sometimes it's better to not believe everything that is written. It's completely new to me. So Arne saying that, he's not been made aware of or asked or told not to play him. So, you know, take the man at his word. So I want to talk about Peter Crouch for a second. He's been speaking about Trent, and he said, I don't think anyone's naive enough to think that Trent hasn't already decided his future. That's not the case. I think, these things get sorted in advance, and I think that'll be the case. Otherwise, why would you sit there and take all the grief that you're getting when you know that you can just announce it and stop all of that? If there isn't another agenda to announcing the departure, officially, that's not going to go down well, to say the least, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I agree with Crouchy and everybody else, and I think this whole thing is just going to end up with an even nastier backlash because of the whole top off and the Adidas googly eyes thing, and some people reporting that Trent may stay or everything. I agree with all the players who think all signs point to him leaving, and Crouchy again. I agree with there. Edward Nelson, your 50th, mate. Oh, what a special birthday as well. Happy birthday, Edward, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. And yeah, as you said, I hope you get to see Virgil lifting that Premier League title as well. Squeaky, how are you, bro? Said Jota, Costas, Elliott, Darwin, Kwanzaa out, Alvarez, Delap, Kirkes, Rogers, Huijsen in. Would you take that? Love Harvey, but Arne doesn't rate him. I would, but as I mentioned, I don't think Delap is on the radar for us at the minute. Jota, Costas, Elliott, Darwin, Kwanzaa out. Yes, I would again add in. I would add in Elliott, as you've mentioned, because of the manager situation. I'd throw Chiesa in that mix as well, but that's a lot of players, isn't it, going out the door? I'm really intrigued to see where young Rio's place is in the squad for next season. So does he maybe take, let's say, Chiesa's place on the bench, but with more likelihood to get some opportunities than Federico got? Yeah, just toying with us, really. Look, maybe he thinks that once the league is won, he can say it and people will be a little bit less annoyed by it. I think that's a misjudgment personally. I think, like I said all the way through, it's going to get even more nasty when people start to read the stuff about how long it's been done for and stuff like that. This is why I've always said, be upfront and honest about it. He had a chance to say anything about him staying when he was interviewed after scoring the winner last week. And he chose again to talk about not speaking about it publicly. And even the body language, nothing suggested he was staying. Nothing. And I feel so bad because every day I'm going into chat groups and Discords and I'm chatting with people, and again, everybody just feels a little bit more hopeful, and my heart breaks for them because I don't think we're going to get a positive outcome in it. Maybe I'm a bit more of a pessimistic person, I don't know, but yeah, I'm just of the mindset of expect the worst and then let's see what happens. So again, just while we're talking about right backs, about that guy Wesley from Flamenco. This post from Brazilian journalist Brian Lemos said that, as previously anticipated, the player is being coveted by Liverpool and Manchester United, and his representatives have travelled to England for a talk. So Liverpool and United linked with that guy Wesley Franca from Flamenco, the right back. Where was this other story I wanted to go back to? Oh yeah, let's talk about Real Madrid for a second. So firstly, Real Madrid demanded that the referees for the Copa del Rey final were changed. And it looks like they've got their way and the referees are going to be changed. Now Real Madrid are demanding an apology about the referees and the statements they made previously. Is there a club in world football with more arrogance and entitlement than Real Madrid? The answer is no. There isn't. It is nuts. A club that speak about respect so much just don't have any. It's baffled. I can't say how much they wind me up as an institution. But yeah, and we're not playing if we don't like the referees. Imagine Liverpool, Arsenal, United, anybody in England trying to say we're not playing the game. Like the FA Cup final, let's say. We're not playing it unless you change the referee. Imagine that. And imagine what the outcome would be from Neville, Carragher, and rightly so. You know, we got lambasted for saying that we're going to look at every avenue possible over the whole Diaz fiasco of that ridiculous goal at Spurs that was ruled out. And that wasn't even 1/10 of the way along to saying, well, we'll pull it out of the final if you don't change the refs. That is a special level of arrogance. James said, stick some pretzel M&Ms in with that broccoli. It might taste better. You know what? I didn't enjoy the pretzel M&Ms as much as my memory of them, mate. Although I greatly appreciate you sending them down to me, James. You know, sometimes your memories of something are better than the actual thing. So, I don't know, maybe it was I was in Florida and the weather was great and all, but yeah, won't be getting them again, I don't think. But again, really appreciate your support. Right, I need your help again. August, September. 2 times that we can do a live show. I think I've now pretty much got it into my head that it's going to be Cork for one of them because Galway hasn't shown up. So Galway, you've lost out the Cork there. Cork boys have shown up in the emails with some good suggestions. So we're probably going to try and fit in a Cork show in August time. And then I have the option of either September or November for one more show. And I wanted to go abroad. So this is where I'm asking for any supporters groups, venue managers, anybody that is in Europe, Canada. I mean, I would say Asia, but I don't think we can fly that far for such a short period. Yeah, anywhere in Europe, Canada, let me know because we've got a space. We're trying to book in one more show after August, and we need your suggestions to get the right venue. So do let us know. And it looks like we will be taking Cork up on the very kind offer and coming down there. Probably August if we can get it booked in. Christchild said, best and worst moments from Slot this season. So the worst moment for me was the too much praising of Paris Saint-Germain, which is just me being fickle, but that was it. Being honest about it. And the best moments, there's been a few things I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed his tactical acumen and the changes he's made and how well he's read opponents and the difference when we come out for a second half. But I've also enjoyed the way he's dealt with the media. I think he's been very jovial but firm. And I've liked that. I've liked that side of Arne. But all of it is probably going to be the confrontation with Michael Oliver. That, probably. Because that was Slot finally kind of releasing the pent-up frustration that I'm sure he's going to feel a lot of with officials in the Prem. So, yeah, as much as it ended up with him getting a 3-game touchline ban, I was kind of like, go on, Arne, get in there, get stuck in. Hey Michael, how are you? So hi Craig and everyone. We're Liverpool Football Club. We should have the best 25-man squad to challenge and compete. Win the Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup and League Cup. FSG and Slot need this mindset. Yes, I think Arne has it. He's assessed the squad now, and I do think we'll see the changes in the summer. But again, it's going to feel like a long time between now and the transfer window opening because, it's going to be a weird end to the season, this, isn't it, once we've won it. We win the title on Sunday, hopefully we celebrate that. And then there's a lull of a few more games. And then, of course, we've got the last game of the season with the trophy presentation, which we're all going to really enjoy. So, yeah, apart from that, it's going to be a weird end to the season. How do you think Dom will perform next season? Said Nolly Pop. And thank you, my friend, for your membership comment. Fine. I've had no issues with him this season, to be honest with you. Overall, I think Dominic Szoboszlai's had a more than acceptable season. So he spoke himself about having to do a bit more defensive work and provide a bit more coverage on the right-hand side. But yeah, all in all, I think it's important to point out that he hasn't hit his prime yet. That's really important here. When Dom hits his prime, I think he's going to be frightening. And Alexis McAllister is just coming into his prime as well. And I'm very much excited to see what the next few years have for Alexis. And if we can bring in somebody then to compete with Ryan or rotate with Ryan and give him a bit of a breather, yeah, I think we're looking good. But if Elliott moves on, then my first choice would be Morgan Rogers. But, again, let's wait and see in the market. But yeah, it's been a conversation topic, Nolly Pop, that I've been surprised about throughout the season because there's always one player every year that I feel somewhat gets scapegoated. And this season, it's been a mixture of him and Trent at times for me. So I've had no issues with him. I think he's had a better season this season. Would like a few more goals from him, but, we're about to win the league, so it's hard to be overly critical. John from Further said, in my opinion, Chelsea will end up with Huijsen as the players always do. They'll offer him crazy wages and contract. I'm done getting excited by players and Chelsea interest at the same time. So, what can I say to you about that one? There's no denying Chelsea have a relationship with his agent. Same agent that was involved in the deal for Caicedo. But what I would add to that, and what I've tried to put forward in this, is the player himself is the one with the decision-making power here because it's his career. He will look at the situation and surely see Liverpool as a better option for his development. And also, when we lost out to Caicedo, Chelsea had put a lot of groundwork in previously and we seemed to be very late to the party. And we didn't have Edwards and Hughes at the club then. And I don't think particularly Edwards would have allowed us to get into that situation with Caicedo unless he knew he was coming. So I don't feel as worried. Now look, I'm not saying he may not end up at Chelsea, but remember, Chelsea might not be in the Champions League and that will have an impact financially on them. If they win the Conference League, they'll be guaranteed Europa League qualification, but right now the race for the top 5 spots, particularly places 4 and 5, are very, very tight. So if Chelsea don't get one of those Champions League spots, that makes their chances even less likely. But I just don't understand how players can look at Chelsea and not think, nah, not going there. Because will Maresca still be there? Who knows? As I mentioned, 42 signings in the last 2.5 years in the door of Chelsea. I just don't know how you could look at it and think that's a stable project. Joseph Purvis said, Rodgers, my number one for that midfield target, but I would certainly like Fermin Lopez. So the Fermin Lopez links have at least quietened down a bit over the last few days. There was some talk, I think it was early last week, maybe the week before, that he wants more assurances of more game time and development there at Barcelona. Not saying he hasn't had enough, but he wants those continued assurances. But I had seen that there's a potential that he could be available. So, look, we sit here every night and we speak about so many different targets, but it's the most Liverpool thing ever then for us to go out there and sign players we probably haven't even spoken about yet. So, On the Huijsen and Kirkes things, look, they're credible. Very, very credible links. The rest, I'm not... I don't know. Like, I couldn't sit here and tell you who I think is going to be the number 9 that we bring in. I don't know who I would say is front of that queue at the minute. I just don't know. Hey, Michael, 1, thank you for upgrading your membership, mate, to Anfield Agenda Ultras. Absolutely top man. And 2, thank you for gifting 10 memberships as well, mate. That's really kind of you. And I'm sure they'd be very much appreciated as well by everybody in the chat. Right, we've half an hour left on tonight's stream. So anything that you guys want to discuss, throw it into the chat. Quick reminder that we won't be live tomorrow. There'll be a news video out at some point during the day. But other than that, we're going to take the day off tomorrow and be ready to go for Sunday. We're also going to make a little slight twinge to our content on Sunday. If we do win the Premier League, then we're not going to break after the game for a match reaction. We're just going to carry on all the way through on one longer stream, because I think that makes more sense, because I want to be live and I don't even want a minute missed of chatting with everybody and celebrating when the final whistle goes. So we're going to stay right through, and then of course we'll have a player ratings video and either a stream or another video that night. Was there something else I was supposed to say? I always get in trouble because I forget to say stuff. Nope. Sorry. It's escaped me. Poll, Arne, is he tactically aware? There's no need for a poll on that. There isn't. Because if anybody says he isn't tactically aware, the kindest I could be is that they're being delusional. Arne Slot is one of the most tactically alert coaches I've seen. I would put Unai Emery up there as well as another one, but he reads a game, Arne, incredibly well, as does his backup team. I've been incredibly blown away. So for me, we could talk about his stubbornness, but tactical nous and awareness, I think he's up there with the very best. The Liverpool Prophet said, you think it'll be comfy on Sunday? I think it'll be a draw. Nah, I think we beat them. I mean, there's 2 ways to look at it. Spurs can put out a highly changed team and play with no fear and maybe get something. Or Spurs can have one leg in Thursday semi-final against Bodo Glimt, which is a far bigger occasion for them. So they've got no Son either. He's out injured. If I'm Ange Postecoglou, in all honesty, I'm not giving a damn about the game at Anfield on Sunday. I'm saving everybody for that game on Thursday. And he's certainly not going to want to put players out there to pick up an injury. So coupled that with the point that Palace already got during the week, which means we only need a point, I think there's going to be a lot less anxiety between now. Like, technically, we could lose every game of the season and still win the league on goal difference if that went our way. We've a 10-goal lead, I think, as things stand. Joshua said, the one thing I like about Arne is his ability to think quick on his feet. Knew we were getting a gem. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how we go on from here as a club, not just with Arne, but how much we do push on. Like, I don't want to say that is there a potential this was a fluke, because that would be really, really unfair. But I feel comfortable in saying I still don't fully know what Arne Slot football is. If somebody was to ask me to summarise it, I don't feel I'd be confident of being able to do it. Because I think we've been too pragmatic at times this season. Have you ever had contact with any of the current players about an interview? Nope, never. I think we asked Liverpool about a chat with Virgil. I want to say 6 months ago. And we did receive a reply, to be honest, and it was just that he's too busy with prior commitments, which is absolutely fine. We did also ask at one point, I think we emailed to ask if we could get a chat with Connor, Bradley, obviously with the Irish connection. But no, the one I want to interview is Aldo. I keep saying that. I just don't know how to get in contact with him. But John Aldridge is the interview I've always wanted on the channel the most. Stephen said, what's the latest on Frimpong, especially after him speaking to the Liverpool players in international break in March? Also, seen him speaking Scouse. I honestly have no idea, mate, what's going on with him at right back and whether Liverpool are really interested. I would be a liar to you if I said I knew or I didn't know. I wouldn't be a liar to you if I said I knew. Sorry, I haven't got a clue. No idea. It's an interesting one though, because you could have cover for Salah as well as cover at right back. So it would certainly be an interesting and achievable piece of business at about 40 million euro. So that's one of those, unfortunately, I can't give you any additional information on because I just don't have it. Joshua said, one thing is he mentions the importance of control in his team, and we haven't really seen much of that. Our games are end-to-end at times. No, I think this season we've had way less end-to-end games at times. We've counter-attacked quickly, but we've certainly taken too long in build-up for me and tried to assert that control in a way that I think has been overly cautious. But you're right about the control. He's somewhere between a Pep Guardiola and a Jurgen Klopp in terms of the way that he wants a high press, but he wants players, as you mentioned, to move the ball till they see the right pass, not to force the situation, but to keep moving it and to just find that perfect ball through, which I guess is easier said than done. Liverpool Prophet said, my mom said she feels Arne isn't involved with the fans enough, like Jurgen was. Thoughts? I mean, it's an interesting thought process. I can see where your mom's coming from, absolutely, but maybe that's just him as a guy. You know, maybe he's a bit more withdrawn in that regard, a bit less emotional. Maybe he feels like he needs to achieve something and create that bond even more with the fans. Maybe he feels like he needs to prove himself a little bit more. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, and I certainly remember having conversations in the earlier part of the season where people were saying there was some groans almost at times inside the stadium because it was very different from the style of football. So maybe he will loosen up a bit as we go along and he molds this team into his team, because it pretty much still feels like Jurgen Klopp's team with regards to most of the squad and stuff. So I hope it comes over time, because he's a very interesting character, Arne Slot. Heck said, Arne is a more measured individual, but it's something that might happen more over time. Absolutely, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, so I was looking at the Conor Ben Chris Eubank press conferences and all, and I was thinking about it. Like, Chris Eubank would be my kryptonite, because I'm so emotional that having somebody be so calm and measured back to me would probably wind me up. And I'm so in Arne's situation, I'm probably more emotional like Kloppo would be, and can't hide that emotion, whereas Arne maybe is better to internalize that and deal with it in a more measured way. How long do you think it'll be before we know where Huijsen's moving? I would say late part of May would probably be realistic. I think from everything I've read, wants to get the season out of the way, and then we probably have a break and think about things, which is understandable. If you've got a load of offers on the table, you want to sit down, assess the strengths and weaknesses, speak with your family, and go from there. Tonight you should have seen his speech and celebrations when he won the league with Feyenoord. It was wild. I have seen a lot of his speeches. I remember the one where they beat Ajax, I think it was, and it was in the changing room, and he spoke about it being a big win, but it is just that one big win. Now go on and achieve more. And I've no doubts the man's capable of putting together an inspirational speech. But, we'll see that, I'm sure, at Liverpool over time. I'd love him to come out with when we win the title, somebody give him a microphone, he starts singing his own song. That would be cool. So any plans for the weekend? Anything exciting, folks? Apart from Sunday, of course. Anything exciting planned? I'm looking forward to a day off tomorrow. I won't lie to you. Mentally, I'm absolutely exhausted at the minute. There's so much stuff going on in life and with work that even a day off feels like a big deal. Okay. Done that. Okay. A little bit from Arne Slot, a little bit more ahead of potentially winning the league on Sunday. He said, it's a big responsibility because we're aware of the fact that last time this club won the league, it was COVID time, so everyone's looking forward to Sunday, but we know there's still a job to be done. We watched it all together, the Palace-Arsenal game, and it was a game that had a surprise. Before the game, I didn't think it would be a draw, but during the game, I was surprised because, again, Palace showed what the Premier League is all about. So they were together watching it, as was confirmed anyway. Speaking about Conor Bradley, he said he's getting closer and closer to playing 90 minutes, but we're taking care of him as he had 2 injuries that were similar. It's important for him to play as many games in a row as he can. He definitely has the quality to do so. So again, I think that's a definite that we're seeing him starting at the weekend. Ella, how are you, my friend? Can't wait to see Liverpool lift the title. Coventry asked me to, I don't know what that word is, to present, is it? Their Player of the Year award, the final game of the season. That is awesome. Wow. Well done, Ella. That's cool. That's going to be brilliant for you. Make sure you show us some photos. That's going to be class. And well done to you, Ella. Yeah, I'd love Liverpool to ask me to present something like that, the Golden Samba or something would be class. But yeah, more chance of, as I said, me showing up here with a head of hair like Carlos Puyol. Boeing's ability said power washing the gable end and re-rendering it, then going canoeing. God almighty, you've probably done more in that weekend, mate, than I do ever. Yeah, there you go. Good man yourself. Day off for me means I'm not doing a damn tap. Don't ask me to move. Don't ask me to talk to you. Don't ask me to do anything. I'm on the sofa watching sport all day. Chris said there's a 5-piece blues band in my local tomorrow night after a busy week putting the music together. So you're looking forward to that? Nice. Good. I'm going to be settling in to watch the Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight. Andy said, got a journey from Ruthin to Newport to pick up the daughter. It's been away for 2 weeks. Well done. Top dad stuff that, Andy. Well played, sir. Got to thank you for bringing us the Premier League trophy, the manager of the season. Yeah, you're welcome. Do you know, soon as John W. Henry and co go out and bring in an Anfield Agenda look-alike, trophies come flooding in straight away. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? I saw Chris Eubank Jr. got fined. It's $500,000, I think, Steve. $500,000 for missing the weight by like half an ounce or something. It's, yeah. And then he's got to be careful about the rehydration clause as well. There's a £10 rehydration clause, meaning he can only weigh in at 170 tomorrow morning. So, he could lose even more money if he comes in over the rehydration clause. So that's why, even though I think Eubank Jr. is the favourite going into the fight, I stuck money on a Conor Benn knockout because I wonder, has the weight been too much of a weight drain? Is he going to be unable to really compete at the top of his ability because of that weight cut? It really is an intriguing fight, and the closer it's gotten, the more intrigued I've gotten about it. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. A lot on the line. with regards to family pride and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm actually really excited, even though I'm not going to it. I'm watching it in Sky Box Office, but I'm excited. Stephen Gerrard on the favourites list if Leeds sack Farka. Wow. I think it would be an interesting one. I mean, be an interesting one for Stevie G. Wesley said, taking the family camping, first time for the kids. We'll see how they do in a tent. Watching the game with my boy on Sunday by the campfire. Nice. Well played, Wesley. Again, that sounds like hell to me because I would have to take about 75 antihistamines, wouldn't get a minute's sleep in a tent. Yeah, I'm not an outdoorsy type of guy in that regard, mate. I'm very much, even glamping's too much for me, No. But that being said, awesome family time, my man, and enjoy. And I hope the kids do enjoy it. I'm reffing 2 college matches later this morning, senior boys and senior girls matches, and then reffing 5 futsal matches Sunday evening. Nice. Well in, Michael. Fair play to you, my man. That's class. Felix said, what do you think? Will Jota stay as a backup or will he go somewhere else? I have a feeling he stays because I think it'll be Diaz and Darwin. So, unless an offer comes in that works for everybody. But again, Liverpool would have to go in and replace them. So that'd be another bit of business to do. So, he's been linked with Wolves again. He's been linked with Newcastle, and I can't remember the other team that he was linked with. But look, would I sell him? Yes, I would. I would sell him, and I would sell Darwin. I'd be in no rush to sell Diaz, but let's wait and see. Do you know what time the ring walk is? No, not off the top of my head. I would imagine sometime 10:30. But, I don't want to put you wrong, mate. So I'd say just Google it. It's the best answer on that one because I don't know the exact ring walk times. I initially had tickets to go up to Dublin to watch Cage Warriors. And then I stupidly realised that, it's the same day as the Eubank Ben fight. And I really want to watch that fight. So I sold my tickets to Cage Warriors, which I was first row octagon side for that one, which was the first time I've ever been able to get tickets like that. But boxing supersedes everything to me, so I want to watch the U. And I could have recorded it, but I know I know I'd get a spoiler somewhere. Colin said Wolves will go back for Jota. I just don't think though that he will make that move. I think he will feel like he wants to play European football, which is understandable. Nobody likes seafood. It just makes me sad. Yeah, well, I don't like it either, to be honest. Everybody else in my family does. My wife, my son, daughter, all like seafood. The nearest you're getting me to seafood, though, is fish and chips from the chippy. And that's it. Jota is very handsome, though. Okie doke. I don't know. Never really thought about it in that regard. Sorry, I'm trying to read something Mark sent me on. Yeah, there's just too much in that for me to be reading now. But again, thank you, Mark, for forwarding it on. Love crab sticks. Never tried it. There's so many foods that I haven't tried, by the way. I've never eaten a prawn. I've said this to you lads many times. Never eaten a prawn. Never. Just decided by the look of them I don't like them. And there's probably a load of more foods. Like, what else have I not ever eaten? Um, I don't like garlic anything either. What else have I never eaten? I'm trying to think of real everyday stuff that I've never eaten. Okay, most seafood, salmon. I've never tasted salmon because, again, don't like the look of it. Calamari, no, never tasted that. Definitely not. What else have I never tasted? Defeat. Sorry, couldn't resist that. Yeah, no garlic. Don't eat garlic. I'm so big on sensory stuff because I don't know if it's because of my Asperger's or whatever, but if I don't like the smell, texture, for instance, I don't chew my food much, and it's not because I just want to swallow it quicker. It's because I don't like the texture of mushy food in my mouth, which is again another reason why broccoli to me is just total hell. I wouldn't be a massive sauce person either, so I'm not a big gravy person or anything like that. I like my food separated. Yeah, I'm a very, 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 very fussy eater. What about fried chicken? Oh, Jesus, yes. Of course. Mate, come on now. Can you say Alex Giles is a waste man? I believe I just have. Sorry, Alex. Not on me, bro. No salmon. No, never tasted it. Do your butchers over there sell white pudding? I'm in Ireland, mate. Of course, the butchers sell white and black pudding. I mean, Clonakilty white and black pudding is an institution over in Ireland. I've tried pudding when I was growing up, absolutely. Oh, another thing, I don't eat eggs. I don't eat eggs either. Now, weirdly, I love egg product. So I would eat French toast. I would eat pancakes. But I wouldn't eat eggs on their own in any form, which is weird. I wouldn't even eat an omelette. Am I more of a sweet or savoury? Both. Honestly, both. If I had to make a decision between crisps or chocolate, I'm probably going for crisps. Nope, not even scrambled egg. Nope, not at all. Don't eat tomatoes. Don't eat mushrooms. For my ideal fry up, let's say, would be potato farls, bacon, sausage, beans, hash brown, brown soda bread. Andy said, I hate gravy, won't eat meat off the bone, and if you have to crack peel the fish, no go. Oh, I love meat on the bone. I think meat on the bone is better than meat off the bone, to be honest. Um, yeah, meat on the bone where possible for me. What about jellies and other sweets? No, don't really. No, not really into like candy, if you want to call it that. So Sabrina, my wife, she'd happily sit there with a bag of sour jellies or something. Not me. I'm not really into any of that kind of candy type stuff. Just chocolate. My big sweet spot is like uh, patisserie stuff. Like that's anything with pastry is my big weak spot. I was watching the footy the other day and the camera panned to Ali. Mum walked by and decided she was her favourite. Can you guess why? I could probably have a stab at it, mate. Yeah, I could probably take a guess. Boeing Zibidi said, I used to be a fussy eater 30 years ago, but then had a Michelin chef as a client. And after 12 months of a restaurant upgrade, I had shark, alligator, monkfish, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Nice. Well, I suppose it would be handy having our own Michelin star chef floating around. Favourite chocolate product? It used to be just a good old Cadbury's Dairy Milk, but when the Americans and Mondelez took over Cadbury's and destroyed the taste of the chocolate, what would be my favourite chocolate product? Um, I'm gonna have to say the Dubai Bar from Sugar Plum in Mullingar, which is a chocolatier that I've started ordering stuff from in the last month. Yeah, their Dubai Bar is just ridiculous. It's so good. So probably that. This is maybe offensive, but the only form of potato I like is baked. All the other types given. It's not offensive, mate. You can say potato in front of an Irish person. We don't really care because it's true. There are some stereotypes that are true, and Irish people loving spuds. It's true. You know, we love our fucking potatoes. You know, you've heard me on here so many times defending Irish crisps and saying, you know, how serious we take them over here. So no, man, you're good. Ironically, though, that's the one type of spud I don't like, is a baked potato. Mashed potato, chips, boiled potato, no problem. But not a fan of baked potatoes. I love how this has evolved into a food chat. Well, mate, look, it's my other big passion. You know, look at me. I'm a man who likes me grub. If you ever come to Australia, you gotta have Beefy's Pies, award winning. Deal, Joseph. And I do want to. And my plan is to try to get to Australia for my 50th birthday and go for a month. That's my plan. Whether I see 50 or not, you know, that's not in my hands, but that's my plan. Boxing fan Craig, Odegaard versus Van Dijk, Verge first round KO, or Arteta throwing the towel. Both. Because that wouldn't be pretty, would it? I mean, Verge will just have the length of the jab, probably have him on the power front. Yeah, Verge it'd be over very quickly, that one, wouldn't it? Chris Tatton Music said Kyo's crisps are the daddy. Yeah, they are. Kyo's cheese and onion for the win, all the way. Right, look, ladies and gents, I'm going to say goodnight to you. I'm going to go grab a shower and get ready for my day off and relaxing tomorrow. Yeah, look, I was going to put out a news video, but realistically, there isn't news to justify it, and I'd just be shoehorning out a video for the sake of it, so no point in me forcing an issue that isn't there. So we'll see you tomorrow for a video, and then we'll be back live again on Sunday at 3:15 for the watch-along. The preview is up. If you have a chance to go give it a watch, would appreciate that. And of course, don't forget, if you want to come and see us in Liverpool, you can get your tickets to the shows with the QR code on screen or the link in the description. But most importantly, have yourselves an amazing weekend. Thank you for your support as always, and we'll see you on Sunday for what is hopefully the crowning moment of the season. Much love.